Good evening and welcome to this week's episode of Sunday Night Live, the automotive show where we bring you all things automotive. Whether it's variable ops or fixed ops, we don't really care. If it has to do with the car business, we bring in the experts to share what they know with you, because the better we all get at this business, the easier it is for everybody. Because remember, if somebody has a bad experience at dealership A and they go to dealership B, they think,
You're there, Paul.
No, my wife just totally messed me up here, man. She interrupted with
Giraldi chocolate. Look at that.
milk chocolate with caramel. God, why do you do that? You know I have a weak spot for chocolate. I know, but don't go too far with that bag, just in case. I'm just saying. Oh my God. Wow. And you put food in front of me, I'm done. Right. Food is my kryptonite. Oh, that totally threw me off my trail here. Holy cow.
Right. We all understand, that's for sure.
So my special guest this evening, a lot of you guys know him, is Mr. Paul Machine from Blackbook. This guy, when he talks inventory and when he talks data, I get goosebumps. It reminds me of that York peppermint patty commercial. You ever remember seeing those?
I love those.
When I eat a York peppermint patty, I get the sensation of being on top of a cool mountain with ice water running all down my back. That's what it does, man, because you know data, and especially now, there's been so much stuff that's gone down in the car business. It's like we took the car business, we put it in a big box, and we shook it up. And we're still trying to figure it out, right? And, but we can't figure it out unless we have the data. So just a quick update real quickly. On the knee front, it's 3 months and 2 weeks since my surgery, double knee replacement surgery today.
Nice.
Walked on the boardwalk on cement for 2.2 miles. Now, granted, I had to sit a couple of times, no, actually 3 times on that 2.2 mile journey. However, I was able to do it. I ditched that cane a long time ago. It's focus and dedication. So it's getting better and better every day. So the recovery is going extremely well. And I just want to acknowledge what happened to this thing here? The electronics are going haywire here. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, let me acknowledge some of our guests. We've got my buddy Tully Williams says, good evening all. Brian Cates says, good evening. Hello, Brian. Roger Conant, Houston is in the house. Houston, we do not have a problem because Roger Conant is here. Ty Thompson, Auto Transport Intel, Cars on the Move. How are you, buddy? And I think you know this guy, Paul. A guy named Jared Kalfas. You know this guy?
Yes. Hey, Jared. How you doing, sir?
How are you, Jared? Says Dream Team. Ty says hi to Jared. Michael Weldon from across the way, all the way in California. How are you, buddy? Michael Larkin, hi all, happy Mother's Day, Paulette. Michael Larkin says happy Mother's Day. Paul's better half, he calls her. I'm not sure. You got to ask people about it.
He's smart.
Yeah, Michael Larkin says happy Mother's Day. Michael from West Hartford.
Yeah. Thank you, Michael.
All right. So, and Abel Aguirre, how do you all got to be here? And we're glad you were here too. So, Paul, it's been crazy, man.
It has been.
We have a third of the year behind us. Everybody deals in quarters. I like to shake it up a little bit. So when I reached out to you, I said, hey, let's do a third of the year is gone. And who better than you to tell us where we've been and where we're going? I didn't mention this before. I don't know if you want to do a screen share or not, or we could just talk. I'm cool with whatever you want to do.
I can do a screen share, and please, more conversational, the better. I think it's much more impactful.
Yeah,
and
I like that.
Review what we discussed, what I shared with LinkedIn audience and with all of my partners in the field this past week. And to my surprise, it's been very well received. The
real data, bro. It's real freaking data.
Yep. When you go through, and most people don't realize that we can handle everything from asset verification, depreciation analysis, equity data mining, loan originations, portfolio analysis, residual forecastings, remarketing, residual studies, which is really big this year, especially as it relates to the EV market. Risk modeling, another huge business for us this year, all related around, if we get forced to shut down again, what's my risk? And obviously vendor coding, and the way to use the data has just been phenomenal for us. The experience has been just incredible. So I wanted to share with your audience
our audience, you and me, our
audience, right? You're right. You're 100% right, sir.
Want me to bring it up?
Can you see the screen, by the way?
Yeah, let me bring it up here. There you go. Oh wow, they've improved their screen sharing a lot. This looks a lot better than just a little while ago.
It sure does.
Wow.
So I can't take credit for this. I owe this to my wife and my girls, right? All through the pandemic, it just seemed like every day food was getting delivered, cosmetics, hair products, whatever they needed was just being delivered. And so I asked my wife and the girls, I said, do you guys miss going to the mall? We're like, no. Why do we even, are you kidding me? When I can have someone bring it to me, why should I waste my time doing that now?
No joke.
It stuck with me. I was like, that's what we have. We have forced, this last year and a half has propelled us into an economy that the businesses that are truly succeeding are in the bring it to me economy. The acronym BITE Me, I got to giggle out of that, right?
I love it.
Think about it. If you're not a business, I don't care what you are, if you're not a business that's investing in how to bring your business to your consumer and not expect the consumer to come to you, you're giving your customers permission to say, bite me. And I love this, right? You either are a part of the bring it to me economy or you're giving them permission to say, bite me.
Yeah.
So, and we all know why this our retention index is through the freaking roof, 42.8% year-over-year increase in April. In the previous slide, I showed empty rental car lots. And then I showed, sparse dealership inventory. One of the main two factors that's driving that is that right there is the limited availability of what's in the market. So you have fleets, rental car companies that are holding on to their vehicles. They are getting rid of the older mileage and edgier units. And even those vehicles are bringing the money. So when you take a look at that red box, the red square, you see 42.8%.
Hold on a second. Hold on. Roger says, are others hearing an echo? I'm not hearing an echo. Are you hearing any kind of echo? Echo?
No, sir. I'm not.
Roger, it might be you. I'm not sure because nobody else is saying it. But hold on, not to interrupt you, but while we're in the chat, let me just acknowledge Mark Williamson says hello. Hey, Mark, how are you, man? Jeff Daniel, only the price of lumber has gone up more than used car inventory. No
500%.
joke. Roger Connick says amen. And yeah, no. Anybody else hearing an echo? No, I think no. Sorry about that. All right, go ahead, Paul.
So when you look at this, the challenge a dealer has to ask, or any business that serves a dealer, because ultimately that's our end customer, is we got to make sure our dealers can operate so they can take care of the customers. Because when they can take care of more customers, they do more business with us, right? So I have a future think question around this particular slide. So if I were a dealer, I would definitely search for ways to source more vehicles through non-traditional sources for two reasons. Number one, current market trends will not last. And to own inventory at these ridiculous prices when the bottom drops is an absolute recipe for disaster. So if I can figure out a way to buy vehicles directly from John Q. Public for less than what I'm paying in the lane, because you got to remember these indexes and all the numbers we're talking about are at the lane. John Q. Public doesn't recognize the valuation of their personally owned vehicle right now. They don't know.
They don't know what it's worth.
Right. They don't know.
But here's the thing, though. Here's the problem. I mean, I know it's always been important to source it someplace other than the lane, but the problem has always been there has been no concerted effort on the dealer's part to come up with a plan for the most part. You know, some people, CarMax, CarMax, they figured out a way to do this. But
Hairball.
other than CarMax, really,
You know, you bring up a great example, right? I actually had a conversation with a medium-sized dealer group that asked me they wanted to just have a brainstorming session. And it really shook him. I said, you know, let me challenge because he had several doubters. His managers were doubting him. I said, here's the challenge. Vroom, Carvana, and CarMax, 3 independent used car online dealerships, and 1 is on the lot. If you take away the new car franchise used vehicle sales and just focus on the used vehicles that are sold by the independent market, 3 e-tailers sell 10% today.
CarMax #1.
Yep. Carvana and now Vroom. And Vroom is fast approaching, right? So the emphasis here is not what we can do right now. If you're thinking about trying to change right now, you're already behind the ball. You've got to start thinking about what you got to do in the next quarter, Q4, going into Q1 of 2022 and Q2 of 2022. But it starts now. So in this slide here, the wholesale weekly price index, and I encourage everyone, please go to blackbook.com insights to download the report. What I'm emphasizing here, if you remember, you can go back to every single weekly update. This is one of my favorite slides. And around the first of this year, we were barely over the initial line, barely. And our prediction was it's going through the roof. We're at 23% higher than we were at the beginning of the year for used vehicle prices. We have never experienced this market before.
Ever.
And I've been in the business over 30 years now, and I'm sure you have been as well, right?
41 plus, but I'm old.
Ever, right? I've never seen it. You've never seen it. Everyone I've talked to has never seen this. But here's one thing no one can say. If you've been paying attention to the data that we've been putting out since the beginning of the pandemic, we've been talking about this. And we've been making suggestions of what you need to do as a dealer. And conversely, if I were a dealer and I have business partners, other technology providers, what they could do to help me do my job, right? So how can I help my dealer adapt to the bring it to me economy? Number 1, I need to help my dealers figure out a way to appraise 100% of every service vehicle every single time. Every time, no questions, right? There's no reason a vehicle comes in for service should not be appraised and a check writing offer should be made 100%. We've often talked about the reason why we need to create a We Buy Cars portal, because consumers will sell their vehicles online. CarMax, Carvana, and Vroom has already proven it. We have Automation doing it now, right? We have Echo Park doing it. We have Sonic. We know Lithia is just getting ready to launch it. A to Z Zinc is now doing the same thing. I got a 27 store dealership group that's getting ready to do the same thing. I have another group that didn't want to put their branding. They wanted to create a boutique. They created their own boutique website to buy vehicles directly from John Q. Public. And today, 50+% of their inventory comes from their boutique website that they created 6 months ago.
I mean, that's brilliant.
Yes, absolutely.
Literally brilliant.
Right.
But here's the thing, though. Ideally, yes, appraise 100% of every car that comes into the service drive. But realistically, we can't get large percentage service walk around, much less take it one step further to appraise the cars. How are we going to do that?
So Ted, he had a brilliant post today. He was talking about the power of a visual inspection and walking the customer through. And the reality is that the majority of the population, over 70%, are visual. Bill Gates gambled on that and created Windows because we tend to think in pictures, images. Show me and I get the value, right? Over 70%. And that's a process. Even though we know the data, right? Even my data says you should appraise 100% of every vehicle inventory. I still can't help you with the process. I can discuss the process, help you design a process, but the implementation belongs to you. So let me quickly share a story with you. I've got a good dealer buddy of mine, followed my suggestions over a year ago at the very beginning. He goes, dude, I got a service advisor that at the time within 2 months, was buying 25 vehicles a month from service customers. And then he comes to me and says, they want to buy another vehicle, but they want to buy from me. He says, well, you can't quit being a service advisor. You can work part-time and sell cars. But if you're going to sell a vehicle to a customer, I'm not going to pay you to buy their car. I'll just pay you the commission. He was making more money than he's ever made. He's still a service advisor. He gets paid for buying cars from customers who don't buy from him. But those who want to buy from him afterwards, they're the best customers. And you know what happens? Your happiest customers do what?
They pay you the money. They bring you more customers.
Everything. So as a dealer, you got to figure out a new pay plan. You just cannot expect your service advisors to do 100% appraisal and 100% workaround without incenting them to do it.
Now, here's the beauty of it, right? The service, in my opinion, the service department has the best rapport with the customer.
100%.
Once they've been in a few times, once you're deep into the family, they trust you like nobody's friggin' business. There is nobody better to advise the customer on either their car servicing needs or their vehicle purchase or upgrade needs. There's nobody. So yeah, but that's going to be like a mental shift that dealers need to make. I'm not quite sure there's a lot of them ready to make that kind of shift, Paul.
All right, well, I'm glad you brought that up because I promised to talk about this today. The reason why we need to have a tremendous shift in fixed operations digital marketing strategies, right? The OEs, my prediction, no one's giving this to me, my prediction, based on what I've seen and with the data, with the prevalence of the consumer demanding, it's not us, we're not the ones saying we're going to create a bring it to me marketplace. The customer, right? They are. They live online. They're doing business that way. So we got to meet them there. And the OEs are not happy with the speed that dealers are adapting to the new change.
They've never wanted to adapt to change, man. Never.
Well, they're being forced to now. So I got to say this the right way. So there are several OEs that are developing a tier one website, the factory website, a complete digital retail solutions process, which basically means customer can pick a vehicle, order it, go through the entire sales process, and buy the vehicle completely online. And the only step that the dealer has to worry about is the dealer gets the lead in their queue. They get the finance revenue that's already been done by the DRS system. They get to deliver the vehicle. So the fixed operations department receives the vehicle, inspects the vehicle, certifies the vehicle, make sure it's ready, and it gets delivered. That's where they're going. So that's on the tier one website. They're also
hold on a second. What type of reserve does the dealer get when it's handled through the website like that? Do you know that number or no?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I'm sure
it's probably like some kind of a flat.
I'm sure, just like the lenders are, right? The lenders have a flat when they do the same kind of process.
Like a courtesy delivery thing.
Correct. So because the consumers are gravitating more to that kind of virtual experience. If I get a dealer website today and it's an OE that has fully embraced the model. Now let's talk about Volvo for a second, right? So Volvo has said we expect by 2025 be 100% electric, and we're gonna sell every vehicle through our digital retail website through using digital retail solutions.
Well, that's only 4 years from now, man. Do you think that's realistic?
They're aggressively working on it, right? They're a small dealer network. They can be more agile because they have a smaller dealer network. They're a luxury line, so they want to provide the experience that the customers expect today that most aren't getting. We said it already. That customer experience, that user experience, is not where the OEs want it, which is the reason why they're driving this trend to incorporate more fixed operations. More to be able to make sure that if you want a good one-to-one trade-in relationship, we're going to set it up to where the customer buying experience is seamless on the front end. They're going to expect the same kind of service in the service end. And that cycle, that engine, just feeds itself. Just ask any dealer that's that 120% service absorption. The service sells the next sale. It's not.
Here's a funny observation. Volvo, small car company,
Mm-hmm.
right? Cadillac, small number of overall sales.
Right.
Here we've got a projection 4 years down the road to be fully electric and digital from Volvo. And we have about 20% of the Cadillac dealers that said, hey, you know what? I think I'm going to sell my franchise back to the factory because I don't want to invest 200 G's into improving the facility to be able to accommodate electric.
Oh, let me tell you something. I
I'm
don't know
missing
any,
something?
Yeah. But think about this. Dealers make their money in service. Majority of their money is all in service.
Yeah.
The successful ones are 100+% service absorption. If the OE is trying to help me create a process that I can provide quality sales that lead back to my store, and all I got to do is service and care for that customer, that's all I got to do. Why not do it?
I mean,
right? So Chrysler has announced their eShop platform and is encouraging all their dealers to adopt their complete digital retail solutions. General Motors has recently announced a partnership with Techion to manage their entire electric vehicle digital retailing solutions platform between the tier 1 and tier 2 experience. Toyota has told every single one of their Toyota stores and said, whoever you're using for your websites, for your digital retail service platforms, doesn't, develop the process, get good. As we talk about process, right? You want to 100% walk around in every vehicle, which equals 100% appraisals on every vehicle.
yeah.
That compliance, that quality of the experience feeds back into, I had a great, compliant, transparent, easy buying process on my dealer's website, which inherently was the OE digital retail solutions. And now I'm getting an experience in service. And we're just feeding the funnel, right? We're just feeding that funnel. And that's just two. Bronco, when Bronco released the new Bronco, when Ford did that, they didn't do it through regular traditional channels. They did it basically through a digital retail solutions, pre-ordered, sold out, all pre-ordered digitally. Same thing with the Hummer electric vehicle. So do consumers want it? Absolutely. The evidence is already there. Yeah. So the last two channels that I want to recommend to, these two are really dear to me. The first one is connect with your local lenders and your local credit unions and ask about the forbearance mortgage lists that they have available to them. And because on average, each mortgage that's in trouble, there's 2 vehicles that are financed in their driveway. Figure out a way to make a cash offer on both vehicles, and hopefully you can buy one. If you can help your neighbor, your family member, your friend reduce their debt to afford their mortgage payment, guess who's the hero in their community? The dealer. That's a lifetime customer right there. And number 2, it's called possible accommodations. These are the reason why the repossession market is so low today is the lenders who have these vehicles and customers in forbearance, they're modeling what's allowed for them to do with the mortgages. They're doing the same thing for the repossessions. They're trying to
place the cars, right? As opposed to taking them because they don't want the cars, quite frankly.
Right. Right now is a great time to do it, but that can's big time. That can has already been kicked down the road with the mortgage forbearances until first quarter 2022 right now. So if you had a way to figure out to create those relationships as a dealer or a SaaS partner, just imagine the goodwill you would generate if you can help save those people, right? Those are good people who just need a break. And
a
go ahead.
A lot of these people, okay, they might have 2 or 3 cars, could be 2 drivers in the house, and maybe the work model shifted. Maybe they're working from home now, and you're right. They could probably get along with 1 car and don't necessarily need 2 cars.
And the average car payment today is $500.
Wow.
You reduce a $500 debt, I can
spend a year.
Right? For most people, that's about what they need to continue making a mortgage payment. So, and then the last part, and this is, again, it's critical to fixed operations, the reconditioning process. And
that's key.
Right. And here's the reason why the reconditioning process is so critical today. So I've started emphasizing the retail days to turn because I couldn't get over the reduction in the average days to turn naturally because of the market, right?
It's insane.
Last week, we hit 34 days to turn.
That's crazy, man.
I know. I know. So I got a couple guys that called me up. They said, so I'm trying to create this product. I want to understand what do you mean by how can I help a dealer facilitate a 34-day turn? I said, well, if you are in transportation, you need to figure out how quickly you can get that vehicle from the auction to the dealership's lot safely, efficiently, and within a fair price, because they had to overpay at the lane.
Tim Scoutless, block of ice, bro.
That's right. I mean, it's starting right there. We're seeing right now that our retail listings are 15% lower than they were at the beginning of the year. Translation, we have fewer vehicles to list, less inventory. But the opposite side is demand is through the roof. The ongoing new inventory shortages and the availability of used units, we expect it to remain tight, not just through the end of the summer. I'm expecting it to go through well into 2022, and I'll go into detail on that. So when a vehicle hits inventory, the quicker a fixed ops department can move that vehicle through the reconditioning process and get it through the front line. I mean, what's the expression? If I can get that car front line ready quick, I'm making the most money, right?
Yeah.
It used to be 45 days turn was gospel, and prior to that was 60.
That was good. That was real good.
Yeah.
I walked into, you know how many stores I've walked into where they've got birthday cars sitting on the lot before COVID.
Right.
But we're going to go back to after COVID, right?
Right.
So when we get inventory again, the old problems that we had, carrying costs being the choking element, that's all going to come back.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it comes back in a heartbeat. So when we're describing about this 34 days to turn, and it's an incredible profit-making opportunity all the way around. Because if I can sell a car faster than 34 days, each day before day 34 is more profit. The vendor, the partner who helps me achieve to get to a 30-day turn, 29-day turn, 27-day turn, they get a bigger share of my profits. That also means it big stops.
When you put those numbers into a profit calculator, it's a stupid number.
It's ridiculous, right? So we don't expect the supply chain issues to be resolved, and I'm going to show you why here in a minute. But if I were a dealer and a SaaS provider, what would be some of the things I would do? Number one, I engage with a lot of dealership professional consultants, you being one of them, right? And I work with people globally. You know what the number one concern I have in the market today that I hear from these people that talk with dealers about the market, what the market will do? Number one concern, it makes average and less than average dealerships look like they're doing a good job.
You're right. You're right.
And so
look what we did, right? Look what we did.
You just had the location. That's it. You didn't really do anything to manage it. And the demand was there. But when it turns around, when the tide turns, that's when the trouble starts to show up. So be proactive, right? So here's proactive questions I think the dealers need to consider and SaaS developers need to consider. How can I help a dealer? And as a dealer, how can I source more vehicles for less than the lane, right? Because if I can pay less than the lane and preserve the retail profit margin, because we already heard that the wholesale prices are 23% higher.
That's
but
crazy,
right. But here's the retail price gain. It's 10%. So I'm paying 23% more to buy a wholesale vehicle, but I can only ask 10% more in retail. So it's still costing me 13% more on profit to sell that used vehicle. So that's what the data says. So the businesses that help a dealer keep more of that 13% that they've already gave up are the ones that are going to win. How can I win more of those, win more bids and use some of the money that I saved from the melted block of ice? As we know, you said Tim Scholars, right?
Yeah.
Who can help me deliver the vehicles I've acquired, whether I bought 1 unit or 10 units, safely and efficiently, right? That's a tremendous opportunity for transportation. We talk about it every Tuesday night.
Yeah.
And once that unit's in inventory, how quickly can your recon team get that vehicle ready, front line ready?
You're paying for it once you're committed to it.
Absolutely, brother. That's one of the most. That is one of the most hidden profit. That is the most profitable hidden profit centers in the dealership today, because we take for granted the recon process. Ask any used car manager, how does your fixed operations team teach you? Most of them will say they treat me like I'm a second-rate customer. I can't get my car serviced first.
Well, here's the funny thing too, okay? You walk into any store and you ask them how many days to frontline ready,
Yep.
and the number that they give you, I say 90% of the time, will fall short quite a bit from what it actually is. When
Yep.
you do an actual audit, because I got a surprise coming up, I can't announce it just yet, but when you do an actual audit, what they say the days the front line is and what it actually is are two different numbers.
Yes, right.
Not in the positive profit zone for the dealer.
Not at all. I actually I recommend my audience, on my network, if you're not listening to your show or Ted Ing's show about fixed operations and trying to identify who those disruptors are, you need to, because it's evolving and it will become more critical as the OEs take over the sales on the new car side. And the fixed ops is where the money will be made. And the final thing is, how am I meeting the customer where they live? Whether I meet them in the service lane online, that's my keyword. You meet your customer in the service lane, but you're meeting them online, or meeting them to buy online. I know Brian Benstock, right? Paragon Honda, Paragon Acura. He's
genius.
24/7 service. He tripled his business. He's a member of the Bring It To Me economy. He's tripled his service and parts opportunity and doubled his sales by doing one thing. He figured out, I got to be a part of the Bring It To Me economy, because I'll be damned, I'm not going to have my customers tell me bite me, because I'm not meeting them where they live. Right?
Hold on. I don't want to get too far ahead, because there's a bunch of comments that I fell behind on. Mark Williamson said, bubbles will always pop, and when they pop, right. and I've got an example to get back to on this just a second here. Jared says the battle for inventory has moved to the consumer's driveway. 1000% correct. Joe Perez, hello guys. Joe Perez from Fixed Ops Pros. We've got a very interesting project that we're working on right now, so stay tuned as more information gets announced. Roger Conant says keep the front end from the process for buying the cars from the service lane. The thing with appraise every car, here's the beauty of it. If, there's a lot of pieces to that puzzle. The one piece is we're not doing 100% walk around. So that's wasted opportunity right there on the service side of things. So that's number one. Number two, as far as advertising for fixed ops, what's that?
Right.
Man, they're not doing it. They need to do it. There's no point advertising what a great deal you're going to get on a car that doesn't exist. So all that money, and they have no problem spending stupid money on new car promos, one-time things, right? $6,000, $8,000, $10,000 on a one-time shot. Why? Put it into service. Get the people into your service drive. Now, if you can then change, so advertise for fixed ops to bring people into service.
Right.
Train your process so that the advisors are doing 100% walk around. And guess what? That walk around is the same time that you're doing that appraisal.
Right.
100%. There's nobody else that should be doing that appraisal.
100%.
If they're properly taught how to do
it. We mutual friend of ours talked to him last week, and he says, Paul, don't worry. I'm now doing it. 100% appraisal equals 100% walk around. And he said, oddly enough, my write-ups went up in service, and now I'm buying a few more vehicles in the lane that I've never bought before. I'm
and not only that, less online ROs.
Right. And it's just a process. So the key here is I call it PPT, people, process, technology. You got to have the right people in place to implement the technology that you're investing in, whether you buy it from a partner or you create your own proprietary tools, which we have a lot of dealer groups doing. They're coming to us and saying, we need some data to make better decisions about the inventory and acquiring cars and even doing a better job servicing. I had Jared will tell you a story, and I had not too long after that, where the service advisor had to walk out to the vehicle 3 times to confirm the trim level on the vehicle. So think about the lost time it took in writing up a proper repair order because you couldn't properly identify the trim level.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And I went, Jared said, look, you got to talk to your DMS provider because you're getting the data from them. I went back and talked to the guy and said, you got to talk to your CRM provider, your service CRM provider, because you're not getting the right trim level from them. It's full circle, right?
Everybody's going like this. Whose
People,
fault is
process,
it?
technology. So how on our retail prices, right? We found out that 23% of in wholesale, and on the used vehicle side, it's about 10%.
Yeah.
And how can are lenders advancing enough? No, they're not. They're not, right? But lenders will tell you we're making approvals. A lot of my friends in the industry saying, yeah, we're getting a lot of left-handed turndowns. Means, we'll approve this customer. They need this much money down. Meanwhile, they paid MSRP for a vehicle.
Right.
2-year-old vehicle, they paid sticker today. And they're being told, yeah, we'll finance that car for that customer, but that customer's got to put $4,000 down. And they got all the money they could get. So they've got to hold on to that unit. And thankfully, the market's there. They, get out of the way. There's someone else waiting. It's the same thing in the housing market today. If you're not approved and have the cash and ready to bid 30-40% more than what they're asking for, you might not be able to buy a home today.
Yeah, so many people that are trying to buy homes, they get shut out, right. Because there's cash offers coming in.
Talking to a buddy of mine, and we were discussing this used retail pricing and 100% service lane walk around, and trying to make the offer to buy the vehicle and also at the same time improve the write-up offer. He says, so what do you think is the number one challenge there? I said, well, if you're writing up a service ticket and it's $1,500 to $2,000, I don't believe a lot of dealers understand that there are decentralized finance opportunities that will allow you as a dealer to make 2 offers. One, I still want to buy your vehicle, but we need to go ahead and fix this first, and here's what I can pay for your car. And you can convince them to fix the vehicle by using one of these decentralized finance opportunities. Or you can convince them to go ahead and let me buy your vehicle and I'll pay to fix it. But now that you've got this cash from this decentralized finance opportunity, try to say that 10 times fast, but use that money to buy a pre-owned vehicle or another used vehicle. That's a new economy that's just come around in the last year and a half that's available right now to the market. I don't believe a lot of service departments understand that there's a profit center that they could take advantage of to be able to do that, to help preserve the pricing margin and actually increase pricing margins. Because in this box right here, we analyze over 2 million VIN numbers on a daily basis.
Wow.
Right? And that's
a lot of data.
Yes, a whole lot of data. And we're doing it on a daily basis. We do it every day. Our retail market insights gives us so much intelligence about what the market is actually performing based on retail listings on new vehicle websites and used dealer websites. What that translates to both on the retail side of the business as well as on the service side of the business is, am I connected? Let me put it this way. You're a Chevy store and you're trying to get as much Chevy business as you can get. You take a look at our retail markets insights data, and if you come to find out that there's not that many Chevrolets available in the market, but there's a glut of Hyundais that are in the market, and the closest Hyundai dealer to your location might be 30 miles away. But there's a glut of Hyundais in your backyard, and you're not even, to your point, you're not even marketing and service marketing to them because you don't know they're there. You don't know they're there. They're going to
Jiffy Lube. The data tells you they're there.
Yeah, right. Those customers are going to Jiffy Lube. They're going to John Q Service Center or whoever, right? So we've got this kind of intelligence that's been helping these businesses understand what they can do. When you can help a dealer reduce the cost and help them save money on margin compression, you got a customer for life.
Yeah, you're the hero.
Just think about the next question. So I have a real life example that happened just 2 weeks ago. Neighbor of mine had a 2019 BMW X5 5-liter. On the left side of my screen is our retail market insights. This is your average dealer, right? They're appraising the vehicle. They see, there are 90 that are listing today in the marketplace, 35.5 day average return, mean, or some 23.2, sold 114 in the last 90 days.
Wow, that's incredible.
Right, it's a good number, right? My average profit's 56,000, and my retail price, and the mileage is average 30. Well, my neighbor, his specific VIN, right? Not just a 2019 BMW X5 5-liter, his specific VIN. How many VINs just like his in the market? There were only 13 out of 90. Right? The valuation just went up.
Yeah.
How many were sold in the last 90 days? 21. A pretty good size out of that 114. Market day supply, 27.9 versus 35.5. Mean days to turn, 28.7 versus 23.2. I told him, I said, don't expect anything less than 66.9 if you're trying to sell your vehicle, because you have a 30,000 mile vehicle. It's bringing gold right now.
Yeah.
He posted in line. I'm not going to say which one. One of the 3 e-tailers paid him $71,000.
My friend, my personal friend, same thing. He's got an X5. The value went up stupid money from just last year.
I know.
Stupid money.
He calls me up because, I can't believe this happened. I said, this is what I call dynamic. It's called dynamic pricing. If you're not using some kind of dynamic pricing, both in service and on the sales side of things, to understand the demand that you can ask for your service or for the sale, then you're just averaging things out. What's that? Ticket StubHub. That's what they do. Demand pricing.
Yeah, that's right.
Travelocity, dynamic pricing. Airbnb, dynamic pricing. Airplane flights. Their seats are based on dynamic pricing.
Yeah, and it's all changing so rapidly. You have to have this.
You got to have the data to do it. So why can't we do it both in sales and in service?
Not that why can't we do it? It's why won't we do it? It's more the won't than the
like that. That's you're right? People, process, and technology.
Yeah, that's what it is. Before we get too much further, let me just get to some comments. Ty Thompson says Black Widow. He's a big fan of the Black Widow. That's an interesting machine. I've seen it deployed, and it does some pretty cool stuff. Jeff Daniels, you have to work your inbound service drive appointments list daily for trade opportunities. Yeah, that's what we were just talking about.
Right.
You got to set the process in place. Roger Connon says totally different environment than the showroom. No joke. But you know something? I think the people would be more at ease trading in the service drive, quite frankly, than going into the showroom and thinking they're going to get clubbed over the head. I'm sorry, but we all contributed to that. I've spent, like I said, 41 plus years in retail, a good mix between sales and service and management and vendor side. So I've seen all sides of it, but the reputation of clubbing a customer over the head, we earn that, right? The old, pricing, throw them up against the ceiling, see what sticks, and then peel them back down. So we brought that to our business. Robert Allen Carvel, hello from Hotlanta. Hello, Robert. How are you, man? Welcome to the show. Jared says, with the increase in values of vehicles, the number of consumers that will end up in a negative situation in a year or two is going to be extremely scary. Well, you know what's scary? Like what you were talking about before. So now we're buying, this is the part I wrestle with in here, okay? Because a part of me says, okay, we don't know when the bubble's going to drop. It's not going to drop for quite some time. Right now, we're paying stupid money for cars. When the bubble drops and we own the cars for today's money and the bubble drops, we're going to be like this, right?
Right.
We're standing on the platform and we're like this. But as soon as that platform door, the trap door opens up and we drop down, it's going to smack us right here. So it's really an unknown as to, are we going to even have inventory that we're going to be stuck with? We don't know that, right? Depends on the market.
That can answer that question. But it's more about preparation, not just the possibility there might not be anything for us, right?
Yeah.
On the left slide is a decade worth of new vehicle sales year over year from 2009 through 2020 and what we predicted at the beginning of the year for 2021. Everyone was saying that 2021 was going to be between 16 and 16 and a half million. It's now looking to be between 14 and 15 million.
I'll take chip shortage for 500, Alex.
Right? And that's just one of them, right? Who knew a winter storm in Texas would create an issue? And now with the regulations on petrochemicals, we're now learning. Sorry?
I understand that.
No, we're now learning that there's a lot of other components in a vehicle that use petrochemicals like foam and certain plastics and rubber.
Yeah.
Right. The impact of that as well. So when you the new vehicle sales in years past, on the right side of the slide is the estimated available wholesale inventory up to 8 years old. So how good was 2018? Let's take a look at sales in 2020 and 2019. How good will 2021 all the way through 2024 be? It's going to be dependent on 2018, 19, and 2020. And as you can see, we're forecasting that available used vehicle inventory is still going to be tight. And it's even if the retail market, the repo market opens up and every repo comes through, the new vehicle manufacturing is not going to be able to pick up to pre-pandemic levels, at least until Q2 of 2022.
Right, because it takes a while to gear up. It's not just flippers.
It's the supply chain, right?
Yeah.
So you've got to factor that in, and then you got to factor in the negative equity that Jared was talking about on the potential there. Then you got to factor in the reduced availability of special incentives, right? If I'm a manufacturer and I'm selling everything I can sell on the new car side, why do I got to put an incentive on it?
Right. That's right.
And those incentives offset negative equity.
Housing is very similar because right now people are paying stupid money, overvalue, right, for the home because, I got to buy a house. No, you don't have to buy a house. You don't. You can wait it out. So all these people in housing, in cars, wow, that's really a scary thing that we're potentially looking at down the road here.
Could be if you're dependent on the lane. If you're dependent, and this is why I've been harping every single blog post I put, every article I put out, and every video I put out. You've got to embrace doing those 4 things. If you're not willing to embrace, then you're becoming the bite me dealer. You need to become a part of the bring it to me service economy and the bring it to me buying economy.
Which is that is a whole mental shift because we have to go. Years ago, we didn't give a shit who had anything as long as we could be the first one in our market with a new tool that nobody even heard of.
Right.
And we'd spend stupid money on it. I've been there to dominate. And then somehow we shifted from that to this mentality of, well, I'm afraid to make a move. I don't want to put my neck out because the dealer's going to throw me out. Let me just see who else in my market has taken all my customers using this tool to prove that it works. And then if they've proven that it works, maybe if I get a 60-day trial, maybe then I'll think about going to ownership to see if I could buy that. No, it's a whole mental shift. We've got to get back to the way it was and have the Cayunes to be able to say, hey, let's do this.
Right.
I don't want to wait for the other guy because if I wait for the other guy, I'm going to sink. There's only so many slots at the party. This is like a giant musical chairs game when you think about it.
It certainly is. I have a lot of dealer groups are coming to us and saying we need the data to develop our own proprietary tools, our own proprietary solutions, because they're not happy with the current systems with the current solutions that are in place. And I have worked with some brilliant entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs in the last year and a half that their solutions and their technologies that they're coming out with are game changers. but it requires people, process, and then technology. You can have the best technology, but if you don't have great people and a great process, and then expect that process to be adhered to, it doesn't matter what kind of technology you have.
That's right.
So I want to finish with the last, again, because I finish it on everything.
No, don't leave. We're having too much fun.
Write up 100% of every service vehicle with a walk around, because you want to appraise that vehicle.
Yeah.
You're telling the customer, I want to write you a check. And if the smart dealer is put the incentive on there, if you buy that vehicle, Mr. Service Advisor, you're going to get a nice bonus check for that. So there's an incentive for them to do 100% right up on and walk around on every vehicle. Dealers need to figure out a way to create a "We Will Buy Your Car" portal, whether it's buying directly from their own website, or they create a unique website that says "We Buy Cars," and place 100% realistic cash offer, whether a customer will do service or doesn't do service, or buys or doesn't buy from you. 100%.
Don't prejudge. Don't prejudge.
Yeah, I'm going to write you a check. I want your car.
Yeah.
Right.
Because we do need it. It's not BS. Before, they're used to before, oh, we need your car. We need your car. That was I don't know any other way to put this, but that was a gimmicky, come on to just get into the negotiation. But now it's dire. We need your car. This is not BS. And you know what? I don't care if you buy a car from me or not, because I've got 200 people waiting to buy your car. So I don't care if you buy a car, because I just want your car. If you want to buy something, great, but I need your car now. That's a whole.
And they have to. And by doing that, Paulie, if they start now, they start to develop the market, the local community market recognition as, you know what, you got a car to sell, take it to these guys. It's like going to CarMax, right?
Yeah.
I can take my car to CarMax, they'll buy it from me.
No joke.
That's what you got to do, but you got to start now, because when the market starts to turn sour, if you start now, you're in really good shape. Because I know 100% that every single one of my dealers that I've counseled with and had conversations that have taken the suggestions we've made, they're not paying over at the lane. They're not. They're buying about 50% of their inventory directly from John Q. Public. They're not.
Here's the beauty. Here's the beauty.
Right.
You've got the power to make these deals, because if you go to the lane, you're paying over on the car, number one. Then you've got fees. Then you've got transportation. Then you've got recon, because guess what? When a car ends up at the auction, that's not the car that the customer said, hey, you know what? I'm going to do everything that car needs because I want it to last forever. No. How often have we heard in service, hey, it's a lease car. It's going back in 6 months. It's going back into a year. If I don't really need to do that, don't do it. But then who gets stuck? Who's on the hook when that car hits your service drive, right? So you got 4 things that add up to a lot of money. If you take a percentage of that, if you only take half of it, and you put that on the car that you buy from your customer, that last year put pads and rotors on. Right? That 9 months ago, they put 4 new sneakers on the car, set of tires. That's $1,000 you're not going to need to spend, right?
That's right.
On that. And all of the stuff was done. You had the complete history. So why wouldn't you spend extra money to implement what you're saying 100% of the time? Train the advisors, because they've got the rapport with the customer to do this. Let me jump into a couple of comments here. Jeff Daniel says, by the time inventory starts to catch up, 2022s will be late for arrival, since 2021s are still in various states of assembly. 100% spot on, Jeff. Ty Thompson says, TPT, got it. Mark Williamson, floor plan lenders will be going stupid because of such low new inventory levels. Think of all the revenue lost there. Next big crash. Man, that's what I love about this show. There's so many angles to look at things.
That's
right.
You
didn't even think about that. So, you know what, Mark? You win the freaking Cupid doll, man, because I didn't even think about that. But yeah, that's been a major source of revenue for the lenders.
Right.
That floor plan expense, that they're missing out. That's huge money right there. Wow, man, that's freaking brilliant. I didn't even think about that. Wow, I'm blown away, Mark. That's awesome. Didn't even think about that. Jeff Daniel says the perfect storm is only beginning. Roger says dealers still believe the market has to come to them. No, old school dealers believe the market has to come to them.
They're the bite me dealers.
Yeah. I love that, man. Bite me. That's awesome.
They're giving their customers permission to say bite me.
Yeah.
The dealers did it.
The path of least resistance, like water running over rocks, right? It's going to find the easiest way.
Right.
Roger says a change in behavior is the hardest thing. It is beyond the hardest thing. He says, we want your car. We will be perceived different if it comes from the service advisor that is trained and incented. That's what I said. They have the relationship with the customer. They trust them as being a trusted advisor. And Robert Sebastian, he says it most eloquently, the most trusted advisor for life. And it's true. They trust the advisor in a way that they don't trust the sales guy. I'm sorry to say it, but it's the truth.
That's right.
If you put the customer in the middle, and here's the sales guy, and here's the service guy, and it impacts their dollar, they're going to the service guy. I'm not going to lie. That's just the way it is. Wow. We uncovered some awesome stuff here tonight.
And we have. I will encourage everyone who's on the call, who's in fixed ops, take a serious look and be honest with yourselves about your reconditioning process. Be honest, and you will not like what you find. You know, if it takes a condition grade A vehicle, should be up front and ready to go within 2.5 hours, not 2 days, right? A condition B, maybe a day. Condition C, 2 or 3 days, maybe 4. But each department that vehicle flows through is accountable to the time on the clock.
If you know where you are each step of the way. And
I know 2 partners.
Did you know something what you just said there? Did you notice something about what you said about the recon time?
Yep, time on the clock.
All of it was less than a week.
Yep.
Less than a week. Do you know how many dealerships you walk into a week later, they don't know where the car is? It's at the body shop or it's buried somewhere.
Yep. And with 34 days to turn, they don't want that time anymore. They got to have it now.
Yeah.
And now's a good time to get into that habit. And then the last 2 pieces, find a way to create a relationship with your local lender, your local credit union, and find out how you can help them by making cash offers to their forbearance customers that are at risk, so you can help reduce their debt. Every single customer that is in some form of distress through their mortgage company is working with a credit counselor. Find out who those people are. Find out, get those relationships. And when you do, you'll win and the customer wins and you win again and again and again. And then ask about the possible accommodations, because that's not a question they won't even think you know.
Right.
Right? Possible accommodations, people at risk for they're going to be either an involuntary repossession or repossession. And these are not your normal repo type customers.
No, these are good people that bad things happen to.
Yep.
And here's the funny part. Here's the funny part. I bet you if you walk in suit and tie into the credit union and you have this conversation with somebody, man, they're going to love you.
Oh, yeah. You mean
they're
you can
going to love you.
Yep.
And not only that, but chances are, how many people work at a bank? Right? And of the people that work in a bank, how many have family members that drive cars? Each thing impacts the next thing.
It does.
And so often we don't see the big picture.
We're linking the chain.
Yeah. When we have a problem, it helps to have somebody else look at it, because to somebody else that's not in the situation, for them, it's an easy problem to solve. For us, we're trying to figure out all these marbles we just filled. How do we get them back in the box? You ask your friend says, hey, here's a dustpan.
Right?
I didn't even think about the dustpan.
One final thought for everyone. I wish I came up with this, but I didn't. Good friend, very good friend, Greg. Throw the box out. Forget about that. Just throw the box out. Don't even think outside of the box. Just throw the box out. That's the kind of market we have today. Throws ideas on the wall, see what they stick, figure out, work on the process, work with the people, get the technology in line, and refine it, constantly critique it. We've got about 6 months to a year before some real heavy stuff comes down the pipe. And everyone who's ready, I'm telling you, we'll crush it. We'll crush it.
Yeah, we've got the time. Hey, crystal ball time.
Right.
We have the time to get the head start. Ty Thompson says, find a good transport guy. On YouTube, Auto Transport Intel, they have 4 shows a week. Follow their channel. They just, several months back, hit the 10,000 followers mark. You will learn some great stuff from Ty the Transport Guy and Jay Wurzberger and all of the quality people that go on that show, Paul Machine being one of them. Roger Conant says, learned a lot tonight. Thank you, Paul. I think he means Paul, plural.
Right, Paulie, 2 Paulies.
Mark Williams, smashingly good show, gentlemen. I feel like I should be saying that in an English accent. Smashingly good show. Roger says, credit unions have incredible loyalty with their customers. Absolutely. And man, that is an untapped market for other than just getting somebody approved by putting $25 into an account. There's so much more to a credit union than just trying to get them bought when somebody else won't buy them. So I hope somebody walks away with that tonight. Mark says, I burned the box 15 years ago.
I love it.
No doubt. He contributed some great stuff. Wow, well, here we are. We're 9:02, so our show officially ended 2 minutes ago. We own the network, so we don't really care if we go over. But Paul, thank you so much, man. You brought some amazing data as always, and we're going to do these somewhat regular because the market is so volatile. It's important to know where we are, not after the house burns down.
Right.
But it's important to know that, hey, you smell that smoke?
That's right.
We need to know before the damage happens what's happening. And Joe Perez says dealerflow.com. Check that out. Talk about knowing where you are every step of the way. So, Paul, thank you again. Ty says, thank you, gentlemen. Great show. Thank you, audience, for tuning in every week and supporting the show. I appreciate it. If you have somebody that would benefit from this, please share it with your audience because a lot of people watch this on the replay. It's kind of funny how that happens. It's an hour show. I get comments and messages weeks later talking about something that's 30, 45 minutes into the show. So I know they're watching it. And the numbers go up as the days go.
Nice.
So do me a favor, put all your contact stuff in the thread. You can't do it through here, but go after the show's over on LinkedIn. We always think of the question we forgot to ask after the phone goes click. And if you put your contact info, they'll be able to reach out to you because I'm sure they'd have some questions.
Absolutely. I will. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Have a safe and productive next week. And we'll see you next week on Sunday Night Live.